Hey my loves, welcome back to another episode of 100% Lavish. Today I want to talk about something that I noticed. So recently I noticed that when I'm around certain people, my energy gets drained more. And what happens is, unintentionally, they become my thought process. So now my thought process went from me, the things that I want to do, to, don't get me wrong, it's still like centered around me and what I want to do, but I no longer was the main character. I no longer was the main person. So what happened was, I'm sitting here worried about why this person is moving a certain way and doing this. Like, why are they doing this? Why am I feeling away with what they're doing? Not realizing that the moment that I literally took a breath in and called all of my energy back to me, I'm not gonna lie, like I had a point where I crashed the fuck out, and I'm gonna call that a flood. Shout out to Jordan for talking about the flood. And I call that a flood because when you flood something, it brings everything, like all the dirt and everything, to the surface. And I think what happened after that, when everything coming to the surface, it was a whole overwhelm of energy. And I started to realize that I am genuinely in control. And when I seen everything that was blocking me, it opened my eyes. And I started to realize that genuinely, sometimes relationships with people hold you back. You can have the discipline within everything else. Like, I swear, you can have the discipline within work. You can have the discipline within, like, everything that you do other than, like, relationships. And you sometimes often forget to realize that sometimes relationships are tied to certain versions of you. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Shout out to Dr. Monica Nicole, because honestly, she helped me be able to put this shit in words, because I was feeling it this morning before she even uploaded. Then she uploaded. I was like, yeah, let me go watch that shit, because I just know she finna tell me some shit. Because shout out to her, because I'm not going to lie, ever since I found her videos, like, it's like my brain has literally, like, opened the fuck up. And I low-key, like, shout out to her for real. But like, no, I'm starting to realize that people often, older people that you've been around, say for instance, you've had somebody who's been around you since you were younger, those people have a certain version of you in their mind. And that if they're not people who constantly elevate and people who constantly grow, they're not going to see the newer version of you growing. And that's exactly why people fade apart. And that's exactly why sometimes friendships, it's not that it ended bad, it's just you no longer align with that person. And you're going to start to realize that when you start to grow and you start to, like, move and you want new, you have to renew everything that is no longer benefiting you. You have to renew everything that is no longer growing. You have to renew everything that is no longer serving you for your higher good. Like, it is so fucking crazy how I realized this, because I realized that recently I've been going back to past people. Not everybody, like some, fuck no, not everybody, because but like recently, like I've been having a lot of like past people who come back to me, and like we end up having a conversation. I'm like, oh, like you really like actually like cool as fuck. Like, you not really like how you were before, but then the mask slips, and then they start to show me that like they really are. And as well as I start to have certain doubts within myself because of the fact of their patterns and what they're doing. And I'm like, damn, is it me? When in reality, no, it's not me. You already knew how these people were. You already knew what it was. And it's like a 10% out of 90% chance that they fucking change. That 10% is that they changed. And a person like me, I don't like, you know what I'm saying, like Nicole said, I don't like fucking gambling. I swear to you, I do not like fucking gambling. And because of that, like, I don't feel like that is a good risk to take, because it's not guaranteed. I need shit that is guaranteed. And I feel like in order for me to have shit that is guaranteed, I had to realize that a lot of those energies, they are holding me to that past version, like that past contract, genuinely, like that past fucking energy. And because of that, it's like it really affected me. And that's exactly why I came out with the video yesterday of me talking about how when it comes to being a go-to friend and all this shit like that, like, you will start to realize that sometimes people aren't there for you because they're not in your like conscious, they're not on your conscious level. And you start to realize that a lot of people do hold you back. It's not intentional that they do it, but some people it is intentional. And you have to start to realize how much power you fucking hold. You have to realize how much fucking power you hold, and how that you are the power source. When people come around you for certain things, you have to realize you are the power source. And pay attention, because when you start to pull back your energy from those energies that were draining you, you're going to start to see they're going to start to show up in a way that you've been waiting for them to show up. But do not fall for that fucking trick. Do not fall for that fucking trick, because I promise you it's going to be the same reoccurring situation until you finally realize that if you want new, you have to go completely new. You have to go completely new, because the moment that you go new and you start to get that momentum and you start to build that momentum and you go back to something that was old, you're going to go back into that energy unintentionally. Now you're going to go through the same patterns and keep attracting the same type of people. Why? Because you reopen that. Do not reopen something that you already closed off. Do not reopen something that you already closed off. If you have already beat something, if you have already unlocked a new level and have already been there for the game, why are we replaying the game? It's no longer fun when you keep doing the same thing over and over. It's no longer fun. That's like if somebody was to put you in a fucking lobby full of the same people every fucking time, and y'all are doing the same fucking thing every fucking time. Like, there's no change. It's just strictly what the fuck it is. That's going to become boring. And I know it's going to become boring because the people who are watching this video currently, you're the people that you can't do certain routines. Like certain routines really fuck with you. It makes you feel like an NPC. And I know it because you're watching this video. And my intentions for these videos is to send it out to people who are like me. We don't like cycles. We don't like something that is too fucking repetitive, because it makes you feel like life is fake. It makes you feel like you're not in control, when in reality you are in control of everything that you fucking do. So in order for you to unlock that, you have to bring in everything new, because you have to realize that when you're becoming a newer version of yourself, you're relearning that newer version of yourself. But you have to already realize that you already knew that version of yourself. Of course, you're relearning the things that you like and shit like that, but deep down you already knew that. So you now are put in a position to where you can go towards new, or you can continue fucking with old, trying to train old to the newer version of you. Why would you do that? Why would you waste your time trying to get the older people to understand the newer version of you, when you can just go find new people who automatically, when they first meet you, they automatically understood the newer version of you because it was evident to them. People can see what you're worth when they know their worth. When they know what they are worth, and when they know that they come with wealth, they naturally can distinct other people with wealth. You naturally, like when you're people like me, you can go around people and you can naturally tell if something is worth it and if it's not, because it's an energy that you feel, because it's your energy reflected back to you. If you are not feeling your energy reflected back to you, if you are not feeling good when you're around something, it is no longer for you. And it could have started off really good. It could have started off perfect, honestly, but then over time it started to fade. Well, that's fine. You already got what you needed out of that. So now it's time for new. People like us, we constantly evolve. And we have to realize that sometimes it does hurt like a motherfucker to cut people off that you really thought was going to be in your life forever. But you have to realize that each time that you grow, your environment can only grow if you allow your environment to grow. That's why people naturally fade. That's why shit naturally fades. And when you start to finally do good for yourself, that's when people start to pop back into your life. But you have to remind yourself what you've been doing and what you are doing without them here. With them coming back, you have to remind yourself what it's going to do to you. It's going to stop your growth. It's going to stop everything that you're doing. Your momentum is going to get sliced just like that, because you're not realizing you're bringing old into new. Old cannot come to new. Old cannot come new. Old habits cannot come into the new life. Old things cannot come into the new life. Why? Because it no longer associates with the newer version of you. And because of that, your higher self doesn't function the way that your older self functions. So when they were to meet, they're going to clash. They're not going to get along. They're going to want to fight because they're like, hey, I don't do this anymore. So why the fuck are we acting like this? And your newer version is going to be like, what the fuck? And your older version is going to be like, what the fuck is you talking about? When your newer version is talking about, I don't do this shit. I don't like being around energies that are negative. I don't like being around people who aren't benefiting me. I don't like being around people who don't understand me. I don't like being around people who feel like they know me when in reality you don't know anything. Because nobody has witnessed this newer version of me because it is new. So a part of it being new, you are going to attract new. But in order to get to the new spaces that you want to get, you got to let all the old go. And I'm not just talking about just relationships either. I'm also talking about that old hurts, that old trauma, those older things that fucked with you, because it genuinely will hold you back. It genuinely will hold you back. I'm not saying that you got to forget what people did to you, but what I'm saying is you got to let it go. You got to let it go and heal those parts of you so that you can become 100% new. So you're not going out into the world scared based off of what somebody did to you prior or what happened to you prior. You can't be moving off that. You can't be moving off what went wrong. Because if you're moving off what went wrong, you'll never know what can go right. So you have to understand that you are genuinely in control. And if you want new, everything has to become new. Everything has to become new. Everything has to become beneficial. Everything has to go with the newer version of you, because if it doesn't, you will not feel satisfied. I realized the reason that I wasn't feeling satisfied is because I was surrounding myself around things that did not satisfy me. I realized that. And I realized that the more that I sat in my own energy, the more that I attracted things that I actually am satisfied by. But in order for you to reach that state, you have to realize that the old cannot come into the new, because each time it's going to clash. And you also have to remind yourself that your past can jeopardize your present, and your present is going to jeopardize your future if your past is jeopardizing your present. Does that make sense? I need that to click for y'all. You cannot bring your past into your present, because how can you open your future presents if you are so stuck on what happened to you in the past? Everything new. Everything new. When I say everything new, y'all, everything new. Okay? That's it, though. That's all I got to tell y'all. Just everything new. Because I kind of realized this earlier this morning. And when I seen Monica's video, like, it helped me put it into a perspective to where I can actually fluently talk about it. To where when I reached the flow state on my own for what it is that I'm talking about, I actually had division. Because yesterday was part 1 of it. This is part 2 of it. But this is the actual reinvent version. Like, genuinely. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning into 100% Lavish. Know that I love you, God loves you, and please stay blessed.